We're going to run the board now. Over at Action, you have a lean for every game on the NFL board, so we will get to that. But just a little chatter prior. We were discussing the quarterback, obviously, Thursday night, which we'll get to in just a bit. I want to get your take just on C.J. Stroud. Amal is a Buckeye. We're watching right now, and we talked to Brett Coleman earlier, who said they're starting to actually trust the young signal caller in Houston, where they're opening the playbook a little bit. What have you taken away from the rookie's run so far, C.J. Stroud?
You know, I was just rewatching that game against the Buccaneers. Man, he looks incredible right now. We're obviously at the midpoint of the season. I just did kind of a midpoint refresh of my rankings by position, by team. I don't know that there's more than about 10 quarterbacks you'd rather have than C.J. Stroud right now, the rest of the season as a rookie. And, like, not factoring in the rookie contract and all that kind of stuff, like, he moves up even further in that case. But, I was big on Texans coming into the season. They were my worst to first division winner pick. And I got to be honest, I thought they're going to run the ball pretty well with Dameon Pierce. That's not happening. I thought the defense would be pretty good. I thought C.J. Stroud would be fine. I thought he would, like, not mess it up too much. I did not expect him to start throwing like 500 yards and these late drives down the field. He looks incredible. He is commanding the pocket. He's dropping the ball in. He's turning like Nico Collins and Tank Dell into names that most of us didn't even know much about before the year, and now they're like weekly fantasy starts. He's the real deal. I think the Texans are here to stay. I still think they got a good chance in the division, even though they're a bit back on Jacksonville right now. I'm loving it, and I think Stroud is, he looks awesome. I was thinking earlier, like, what do you think his ceiling is? Like, clearly he's going to be a good quarterback, but is he going to reach the Joe Burrow, Josh Allen MVP stratosphere? I don't know if I quite get there on that, but I don't know why not.
Brandon, you're one of my favorite guests, but I vehemently object to your notion that he can't get to that level. I'll tell you one thing. He's already not Josh Allen. He's not throwing 5 picks in a row, Patrick. I love Stroud. I think I got to tell you guys, that throw he had to Tank Dell on the left side before the touchdown is actually the most impressive throw I've seen in his career so far. That ball placement set them up at the 15-yard line. Even if they don't complete the next one, Brandon, for a touchdown, he would have had a second opportunity with just a few seconds remaining. But just really the polish and the poise have been really the key for him.
Yeah, he had a couple of throws, rewatching the touchdown down the right sideline earlier, I think to Tank Dell as well. He's like Geno Smith, and I know like comparing someone to Geno Smith doesn't feel like high praise. Geno drops that ball into a bucket. Like when he gets like the deep ball down the sideline, chef's kiss. That is perfect watching that. And I think we're seeing that from Stroud already. So yeah, I can't argue with you. Like, why can't he be the Joe Burrow? Why can't he be that in that division? This will be a fun division, right? We got 3 rookie quarterbacks now once Richardson is healthy again next year. And then Trevor Lawrence. Like, we're going to have a fun division of quarterbacks for a long time there.
I have a question for the two of you, a little debate here. Now, I said early in the year, and I've got to be fair, I've said early in the year Sam Howell was the truth. And then I came in and I said to the boys, I might be completely wrong about Sam Howell. Now I'm back on the Sam Howell train. Amal, you do realize he's attempted more passes this year than any, Bieniemy, all he's doing is throwing the football. Just the playbook is completely wide open. I'll start with you, Amal. His numbers are actually quite impressive, but the eyeball test as well, when you're watching Howell, the arm talent is very, very impressive. Where are you on the young signal caller there with the Commanders?
Look, I think if they can get an offensive line, they've got a team. I love Brian Robinson at tailback. I like what Sam Howell does. He's got some moxie. He's got toughness. Patrick, you and I are both high on Jahan Dotson. We all know what Terry McLaurin can do. Curtis Samuel as your number 3 is an outstanding number 3 receiver. I think this team is trending in the right direction. And I think one other thing I would add, and Brandon, you can comment on this as well, I think the onus we put on the quarterback shouldn't be as great as it is right now. When you look around at teams, so much of it is play calling. We saw it with the Raiders, the ineptitude. All of a sudden, the first half, they score more points in the first half than they had under Josh McDaniels all season long. And then offensive line, receivers on the perimeter. There are so many factors, I think, go into having success, whether it be a quarterback or a wide receiver. But in answer to your question, Patrick, he is a keeper in Washington. Now bring in the right coach and bring in some O-linemen.
Yep. Brandon? Sam Howell.
I'm sorry, I got to disagree on this one. I think Sam Howell is Carson Wentz with a better agent. I don't love what's happening out there. That dude is a walking sack machine. Like he even with only 3 and 1 sack the last couple of weeks, he's still at 44 on the season. He's on pace to I think either break or come close to David Carr, not Derek Carr, David Carr's all-time record if he stays healthy. And I think he has to own that. I think sacks are a quarterback stat. Better line would help, but this is a thing. This is why I'm calling him Carson Wentz with a better agent. My guy Carson just holds the ball too long. He's trying to do too much. And that is a quarterback decision. You can either throw the ball away, you can tuck it and run, you can put it up for grabs, get intercepted. You got to make a decision. Howell has an interception all but 3 games so far this season, so he's not taking care of the ball, and he's getting sacked over and over and over again. And, EPA, I'm hearing a lot about EPA this year. That's like the new popular stat everywhere. A sack is worth 1/3 as much negative as an interception. I think we sometimes over-index how bad an interception is and underrate how bad a sack is. A sack is kind of a turnover. Like, if you're on 2nd down and 10, you get sacked, and now it's 3rd and 21, you're punting. Like, you are giving the ball back to the opponent in most scenarios there. So I think that's a Sam Howell problem. It has not gone away. The arm talent is there, no doubt. Like, he can make some huge throws, better than I expected. The sack thing, that's Sam's problem. Unless he can solve that with or without the line, I don't know if that's a long-term solution for me.
Yeah, and holding on to the football chases him back to North Carolina as well. So you're right. That has been an issue. It's not just the offensive front. So we shall see if that inner clock corrects itself with Sam Howell. Okay, Brandon, let's do this. Let's start running the board, and we're going to start, obviously, tonight with Carolina and Chicago. The hook is odd to me. It's 3.5 and 38.5 with Chicago laying it tonight. Where are you at on this one?
Yeah, so I do every game. I do every team. I got to pick for both ways. So I don't want either side on this game. I agree. The hook is a little strange. I think if you're Carolina, you just want to bet the under here. It's ugly. It's gross. But Thursday night unders at 40 or below for the total since 2010, 18-4 to the under, 82%. And I think if you're Chicago, you're a Bears fan, it's bet on DJ Moore, right? It's the DJ Moore revenge game. We know he wants to have a big game against his old team. We know he's going to get chances. They're going to let him. Like, they want to look good too, right? They want to show that they won the trade and they got DJ Moore. Look how good we are. So I think you take a DJ Moore receiving yards over. I think it was at 51.5 the last I saw.
Okay, 241 in Germany. Let's make sure that's clear. Indy at New England in Germany. It's 1.5 right now with the Colts laying it and 43 on the total.
Yeah, I like the Colts on that one. If I had to pick a side, I'm not going to go too crazy on it, but international favorites, you take out the Jaguars, right? Because they play a ton of international games. Outside of Jacksonville games, international favorites are 23-9 ATS. So 72% hit rate. When they're favored by 3 or less, 80% against the spread. So I think you just take the better team on a neutral field. And the Colts right now are the better team. They're top 12 DVOA on offense and in defense. The Patriots stink, right? Like, we continue to give Bill Belichick credit. I don't know if he's even coaching anymore. I don't know what's happening out there. We got the video today of him looking confused, walking out of the house. Like, is he going to make the flight to Germany? I don't know what's happening. Patriots, you want to bet the Patriots? Demario Douglas, I think, you get 4 or 5 receptions, take a receptions prop, but I think it's Colts or pass for me.
Let's keep it going. Brandon, next up on the board, 243. Cleveland's at Baltimore. Baltimore, you've got a bunch of futures liability here with this Ravens team. 6, and the total is 38.5.
This is a team, the Ravens, they're my favorite futures team right now. As you said, I've been recommending them in my column, I think maybe 3 weeks in a row, as saying, look, there's still value. There's value on the win total. I think it's at 11.5 now. They're projected over 12.5 wins. So value there, value on the division. And I think really that's the point is the Browns are winning games. The Steelers are winning games. The Bengals, like the whole division is in the playoffs. They start right now. And I think that that's buying us Ravens value, even though we all know the Ravens are the best team in the division. Like they are the number 1 team by DVOA in offense and defense and overall. Their number 1 offense just the last 3 weeks, blowing out Detroit, blowing out Seattle, like good opponents. So I think that's a team you want to invest in. Decide if you want the regular season or the postseason. I think it all looks good. I personally don't know if I trust Lamar in the postseason, so I like the division and the win total a little better, but I think it all has value. So this is, again, here, home against Cleveland. You got to expect the Ravens are going to take care of business. The defenses, I don't know which one is better. These are probably the top two in the NFL, but the offenses, I know which one is better. So I like the Ravens as a teaser here. They're probably my second favorite teaser leg with the Vikings if we get to them later. Just getting that down to basically a pick 'em. The line's a bit high otherwise. And I also love Mark Andrews here. Cleveland has been not great over the middle. Mark Andrews, I think, had 5 catches for 80 yards and 2 scores the first game this season. If you look back at his game log against Cleveland, he tears them to pieces. So I like his over 45.5 yards. I like the alternate 75.5. I think is like 4-1. If you want to do a Brown side, I think it's just the under. You just hope the defense can slow things down enough on both ways and hang around.
Beautiful. Rotation 245. Houston at Cincy. Cincy's laying 6.5, 47.5 on the total, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm a little bit waiting on this one just because we're not sure yet about those Bengals receivers. So obviously we got to see if Chase and Higgins play. I think we're watching the line too because it's kind of floating right around 7 either way. If it gets 7 and a higher, especially above 7, I was really looking at the Texans here. We talked a lot about C.J. Stroud. I do like Dalton Schultz overs here. Cincinnati has another team that's been bad against the middle, and Schultz had a huge game last week, and I think has become a real kind of safety target for Stroud, though he's just hitting everybody. So that's anybody. But I'll look for Schultz's receiving yards over once it posts. I don't think we're seeing that line up right now. The other thing I'll mention here, we talked about this during the break, I'm fading the Bengals futures right now. And I know that sounds crazy. They're so hot. I put them 4th in my power rankings this week. Right now, today, they look really good, but those first 6 games matter. They dug themselves a hole in the AFC, in the division. They have a daunting schedule ahead. Starting here, I think Houston is good enough to beat them the way Stroud is playing. So I would not take this team in a survivor or a teaser. I think Houston is live here.
Real quick.
Let's go ahead and cut his feed. Amal, let's go ahead and cut Brandon out of the show.
Well, you're not wrong about that, but we just want to add to Brandon's point about the injuries. You mentioned the 2 offensive ones with Higgins and Chase, but pay attention to whether Sam Hubbard's going to play. He's got an ankle issue, and you need that pass rush if you're going to get after Stroud.
Absolutely, 100%.
Sure.
San Francisco's laying 3 at Jacksonville, 45 on the total, Brandon.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Sometimes I don't love to play a game, and I just like to learn and watch. And I think that's mostly what my money will be doing. But I'll give you a side for each way. Home underdogs after the bye week in the first half are 63% ATS. So that's Jacksonville. They have been the best first half team for the season at 7-1 ATS. So if you like Jacksonville, you play just the first half. Road favorites off the bye week are 60% cover rate and even higher in the second half. So I think this is a game where honestly, I feel like it's priced pretty evenly. But if you want the Jaguars, play the first half. If you want the Niners, if there's a game where it's close and I'm not positive how I feel, I usually take a longer shot angle. So I would go Jags halftime, Niners full time, get the longer number. I think that's usually like 500 or 600. That's how the trend's set up. I do think the Niners are better, but also we got to see if Trent Williams is going to play before I do much on this game for sure.
This is a great experiment, just kind of a different way to attack the board. 249, New Orleans at Minnesota. New Orleans is laying 2.5, and you've got a total of 41.
Yeah, I think the total, you like the under probably. Vikings and Saints both are 7-2 to the under. Home underdog unders, the last 2 years are a 62% hit rate. So I think that's probably the good way to go. Otherwise, like I said, Vikings are my favorite teaser on the board here. Plus 2.5, so it's a classic Wong teaser spot. You cross the 3, cross the 7. The Saints have only covered minus 8.5 4 times the last 2 seasons. So 22 out of 26 hit rate on their end. Vikings have covered plus 8.5 every game this year, 22 out of their 26 the last 2 seasons too. So I think that is the first pick on your teaser board this week, and then grab the second team you like with them.
I believe you said Washington and Seattle was one that you made sure we got a hit here. That's 261. The Commanders at the Seahawks. The Seahawks are laying 6, and you've got a total of 45.5.
I did, yeah. This is my favorite personal play on the board. I love the Seahawks here. I think this line is overreacting to Seattle getting beat down by Baltimore last week. Baltimore is not the Commanders. Like it's in the DMV. It's not so far away, but they are worlds apart as far as teams go. Commanders are dead last defensively the last 4 weeks. They traded away the 2-star pass rushers. We know Geno struggles under pressure. but they just got rid of theirs. Seattle traded for a pass rusher. So I think these teams are like two ships in the night, just going opposite directions. I think this line should be above the key number 7. So I love it. Below that, this is one of those games where I think could be a get right spot where Seattle could really blow it up and get out early, put up a big number. Teams that have a 60% win percentage or better, like Seattle, after a 20-point loss or more, 68% cover rate, and week 10 to 15, 39-6 ATS, 87% cover rate. We know Seattle is good. Don't overreact to last week.
Beautiful. Amal Shah's Jets. He can't quit them. However, this is a fascinating spot, right? Because we've seen Wilson, and so the market's going to react to how inept he's been in that offense, but they do have a great defense. And you got a weird angle. Obviously, with the interim coach, you're going to go week 1 and then expect there to be a tail off. However, Pierce is coaching for that job. So this is a fascinating spot for both the Jets and the Raiders. I'll give you a pick 'em, okay? And a total in Vegas of 36.
Yeah, I like the under here. I still seen some 37s or 36.5s out there. Obviously, every half point matters, but I'll take whatever the best number you can find is here. I think the under is the way to go. Both offenses stink. I'm sorry, but they're just not good. They're bottom 5 overall DVOA, bottom 5 against the pass, bottom 7 running. I re-ranked all the quarterbacks this week as the midpoint thing. There's a lot of bad quarterbacks out there, right? Zach Wilson and Aiden O'Connell are bottom 4 quarterbacks for me still right now. Even with all the terrible DeVitos and everyone else is out there, these are just not good offenses. The Jets, obviously, we know their defense is good. Since week 4 forward, they're 3rd in DVOA defensively. Raiders are 12th. The Raiders actually are like playing pretty good defense. Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator, is doing a good job. They're better at home where they will be. Raiders have only gone 1 game above 42 all season on the total. Jets games outside of that Denver game, 33.7 on the total for Jets games averaging for the season. So I have just a slew of trends. I'll save the trouble here, but home underdog unders, primetime unders, non-Monday night unders, 37 to 40. Everything is like 60, 65, 70% hit rate. When the total gets this low, I just keep playing the under.
Okay, Brandon. For the rest of the plays, we'll check you out at Action Network. Also, Wheaton Brando, no N on the Twitter. Wheaton Brando. Great job, man. Nice to talk to you again. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Love coming on the show. Love running through the board with y'all. The Every Game, Every Team article comes out late Thursday night with most of the games, and then Saturday we do a refresh, get everything in there. You want to just bet $5 or $10 on a game, we'll get you an angle. Even if you're a Jets fan, Patriots fan, Bengals fan, who else can I offend here? So come check that out.
I owe you an apology. I criticized you for North Dakota State. I didn't realize they won 9 national titles in 11 years.
That's right. Yeah, the reign of terror is over for us, but we had a good run.
And make sure you change that shirt before you go outside the house. Okay, Brandon, thank you very much. You don't want to embarrass yourself.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.